I thought we would try out those pastels we got in our box while we wait for our canvas to dry. As you can see, this is a very messy medium right from the start. You will want to have a wet paper towel handy to keep from blending in the wrong color off of your finger, and a dry paper towel because moisture will cause the pastels to harden beyond the point of still usable. There are several ways you can do this. Easiest way to cover large areas is to use the flat side of the stick and just scrub on some color. Then you can use either a brush or your finger to rub it into the canvas. I found the brush was taking off most of the pigment, so I went ahead and went with my finger. To get pastels to reach the colors they're famous for, you will need to layer on color in multiple stages. You will always want to start with your brightest color first, as most of the darker pigments are extremely strong, and it's very easy for them to overtake the lighter colors. As we add in color, we're just rubbing it in with small circular motions. This will give us a very smooth transition. The colors I got came very well organized in value. As I make my decisions of which color I'm picking up, I'm leaving gaps in those values to use as transition colors. I'll get my two values on and then using the between colors to avoid those sharp lines. You will want these colors to flow in a way where you almost can't tell where one starts and the other one ends. I find myself thinking of what I would do if it was my oil paints, then executing according to my needs. These two mediums are very similar. Really, the choice lies in personal preference. I find paints to be easier to kind of keep my area clean, while pastels have the advantage of not needing a dry time between two coats. We just work back and forth, taking a moment here and there to step back and look at what we have so far, add in a little more here, maybe blend a little more there, changing colors to make for a more realistic transition until we feel satisfied. I probably didn't smooth this out enough, but most of it's going to get covered up with the clouds anyways, so it's not really that big of a deal. You do have a couple of choices to make when using pastels. First is your surface. Most artists that choose this as their main medium will use paper. This isn't your ordinary printer paper though. It'll have a texture to it, similar to how a canvas feels. As this is not my medium of choice, I just used one of my canvases. Works just fine, doesn't seem to be much of a difference, more of a choice of personal preference or maybe availability. The second choice you have to make is, are you going to lay it flat or does it stand upright? There are pros and cons for both. Laying it flat, you will notice the dust coming off of the stick's going to stay where it's supposed to be at, making it much easier to keep that color rich. However, this piling up can get out of hand very, very fast. Dust starts covering other dust. Next thing you know, you go to blend, and that's not the color I wanted. As we already have our easel locked and upright, and I prefer the cleaner surface area aspect, we went with that. After we feel comfortable with how our sky looks, it's time to make decisions on how our clouds will look. I went with dark clouds. As most of this canvas is sky, you gotta have reason for that. With dark clouds, you have the opportunity to add in the brilliant highlights you see at sunset. Very beautiful contrast in any medium, really. They will need to look organic for that realistic look, though. A shaky hand will have the advantage here. I went back to blending with the brush a little bit just to make some of those sharper lines at the edge of the clouds. As that's pretty much all the explanation needed for where we end this, I thought as we sit here and do this, I'd talk about a few bits of knowledge that I've learned over the course of starting this channel. I also wanted to touch on where I expect this channel to be as I continue working on making it better for every video I produce. I want to first say that I did not start this channel to get rich. I started it because I found myself at a point in my life where I could finally afford to support this very expensive hobby. Art has always been a love of mine. Even as a child, I loved going to school because it meant I got to go to art class. As I reached adulthood, I began to realize how rare it was for an artist to actually become financially rich. I brushed my art aside by mistake, and it led me down a road of what I'd call depression. Now, as I reach closer to 30, I've finally realized that it doesn't matter. Who cares if I can't make a good living doing what I love? I can't continue living with this urge to create, even if it breaks the bank. I'd have to say, despite working crazy hours to pay my bills, on top of spending most of my free time either painting or editing these videos to give to you guys, I'm happy. For the first time in a very long time, I can say that. I'm happy. I look up at my walls and I see my paintings that I've already done in the month or so that I've been doing this, and I smile. I log on to YouTube to find that I've gained another sub, and I smile. I finish a piece and take a picture of it to post on my Instagram, and almost instantly my followers, mostly other artists, start liking my post and cheering me on. And I smile. I cannot compare the feeling I get every time something happens that reminds me that I'm drawing one step closer to that dream, that I'm actually going to be able to make a living as an artist. It's not money I'm after, or I would have stopped when I realized that I just worked a month to earn 14 cents that YouTube wouldn't even give me if I asked for it. It's that I'm happy, and I don't want that feeling to end. It's the community that I have the opportunity to create, where I can possibly teach somebody their first lesson in painting, or other artists can come to find inspiration, or just possibly a place where I can find my own inspiration and determination to continue. This channel is just as much the viewers as it is mine. I want to create the content that both I'm capable of doing and you enjoy. As I don't have my own massive community yet, although the opinion of the small group we do have here will never go unlistened to, I've been checking out some of the art channels that do, just to kind of see what's most popular. This information's given me the chance to make some plans as far as what to show. I will be posting some subscriber specials. For now, we'll just say there'll be one at 100, 500, and 1,000 subs. I have plans to pull out some tricks I think you all will enjoy. We will always be posting landscapes, as it's what I'm best at, although we will most likely keep the Bob Ross style for several reasons. One, Bob Ross was my hero. His happy attitude, the way he talked, and he could paint. As a child, I felt like I was looking in some kind of magic mirror that showed your future, because that's exactly who I wanted to be. Second being, it's a great place to start, even if you've never painted. How many times did you hear him say that one? He wasn't lying. Third being, it's how I see the world that I want to live in. The effects you get from his style truly are happy little things. However, we're not calling it Bob Ross with D. Crockett, and we're certainly not going to make a joke of him by calling it Rob Boss, as funny as that is. So where to go? After you've learned the easy stuff? Portraits. It's the hardest, so anything you learn after mastering portraits will feel like a cakewalk. And it's the hottest sellable outside of those who have already reached fame. I need two more things. Printer with some photo paper. It's gotta be a good one. Best case scenario, you can print a picture as big as the canvas you would like to use. We're gonna stick with the 16 by 20 as it's the most popular size in terms of what sells. This puts our price point for the perfect printer at around $1,700. So we might have to sacrifice a bit of size to find a printer more affordable, but we should be alright, as a little size difference is okay. You just really don't want to be looking at your phone or some kind of computer screen when you're trying to match a tone. I will also need a few more brushes and a couple of colors. You can do a portrait with the limited palette, but I'm not a fan of mixing. I'll just end up making a big mess. So I'll just buy the flesh tones that I need. Before I actually start posting this stuff though, I would like to say, I'm not good at portraits. I've made 3 attempts in my lifetime at making one. All 3 failed. I kind of have a better grasp on what I have to do now, And I'm willing to show my stumbles if it means I get the opportunity to also show how to fix those stumbles. I think capturing the process of the progression an artist goes through as he or she learns their craft is a piece of art in of itself.